Hey, and welcome to Well To Do. It is the podcast that helps you have abundance in wellness. Are you well to do? I'm your host, Andi Lew, and I just love bringing on guests every single episode that will help you feel so vitalistic and just really connected. And we are so proud to be powered by Aries Tech. I have a special gift for all of my guests, and let's introduce who it is and thank Aries Tech for being so generous and passing on the Flex. Andi30 is my code. That's 30% off if you want to get the Flex too and harmonize your EMF frequency that's surrounding you. Let's welcome the author of Shut the Bleep Up, Jorge. I can't swear, but your book just has such a fun title.
I know. We can call it STFU or Shut the F Up, you know.
Oh, there you go.
Around with the titles, yeah.
You know, that was going to be my first question. Is how did you get away with this on your amazing press tour? Because you have been everywhere with this. And I was just thinking, how do these, television hosts pronounce everything?
Just massaging it. I think, there was a book that sold about 22 million copies, The Subtle Art of Not Giving an F. So I think that kind of broke the barrier. So
taboo.
Now, taboo. Yeah. So I've been lucky in that. I don't know if I'll be in Good Morning America with it, but so far so good.
Well, we don't mind if Good Morning America don't catch on until the rest of the world
Absolutely.
do. But what is actually happening, and I cannot believe your press tour, you have literally been everywhere because it's in 2 languages already, right?
Yeah. I recently moved to Miami and I released it in Spanish, El Método Cállate la Boca. And I think it's caught a lot of fire because of its simplicity and its power. People like you and I, right, Andy? We've been into all these seminars and all these retreats, but what I really kind of found was a glitch in the system, which is if you don't transform and shut up about your complaining, you're never going to really rewire.
Look, this is why I needed to have you on the Well To Do podcast because, we can talk about all the supplements, all the practices, all the things, but this is the one practice that can really hinder us from, I guess, elevating to another level of wellness, and it's our inner dialogue. But this isn't just something, I guess, it's a method you've made up, or it's a philosophy that you've created and designed. But it's really an amalgamation, I guess, of everything we all know, right? Like it's all about just giving yourself the inner peace, I suppose. Is that right?
Yeah, it really is about an invitation for people to, instead of just throwing the pebble in the still lake,
right.
What if we thought about the waves that it's going to make? What if we thought about the impact that we'll have on our friend if we ask her how her guy is doing, if we already know they're fighting? Like, it's all about taking that step and really using mindfulness, not repression, but mindfulness before we talk. And it starts to snowball into everywhere in our lives, how we talk about ourselves, how we talk about the world, how we talk about our friends. I think right now in the media, we can see that all these systems are collapsing, whether it is our environment or politics or wars, and we need to really self-create inner peace first so we can live it out there, because we can't depend on out there anymore.
I just got goosebumps actually, and it was like, I guess what you're trying to say is that by teaching people how to love harder and be more compassionate to others by starting with ourselves in this method, you are creating less division, which in turn might have that ripple effect into creating less war. That's what the hope is, really.
Oh my God. Yeah. I bring down, it's such an exciting time, Andy, because now science and spirituality are kind of merging. Where things used to be more of a dogma, belief system, now we're seeing science, data behind it. Say the observer effect, which we're the observer. So if we observe my neighbor's a pain in the butt and we say it, we start materializing it, and then we end up being right about those things that we don't want. So the invitation is, what if we stop complaining about our boss and then we realize that he's not occurring as a nightmare anymore? Wouldn't that be something?
Yeah, what if it was, and this is what I do with gentle parenting or attachment parenting, and I don't even like to give it a name, but others do. I just call it parenting. But what if your baby wasn't giving you a hard time, they were having a hard time? And so nurturing them through that, the same perception shift, if you like, just for these adults and the neighbors around you, right? But did you think that maybe you needed to use the F word or the F bomb to wake people up? Because for people like me, it's no brainer. Like, it's just so obvious. But some people are being, I guess, so whether you call it conditioned, subliminally programmed, and they don't even see this as an obvious way to be.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. So the intention of the book was to essentially be a Trojan horse, because you see it stops you in your track. It's actually a very Taoism term, to shut up, to silence, to shut the F up. And then once you open the book, you realize that it's really a book about compassion. And the reason why I named it that is because I was at a neuroscience convention, and I was watching the speaker talk about what we focus on grows energetically, atoms, electrons. It really becomes matter.
Right.
And then I went on break, and I noticed like staff and volunteerings and participants all complaining, and I made a joke. I said, if I ever write a book, it's going to be called Shut the F Up. And it kind of blew up from that. So what I've done is a little laughter in the back. I remember that. What grew up is into the 10 commandments, the 10 STFUmethod commandments. And the first one is, if you're going to talk smack about someone, don't use their name. Use my friend. How can we start injecting anonymity? If we go into a gossip situation, just add, I hear you. Mm-hmm. Don't jump in the bashing. If you have a problem, tell one person or your therapist. Minimize the network of conversations about the things that you don't want, so they don't come back to haunt you.
Oh my gosh, it just does my head in. Like, it was about, I think, 10 years ago or whatever, and I wrote the book Wellness Loading, Disconnect to Reconnect. And I was like, why does everybody go online and post a cryptic post about what's really going on for them, telling the world before they internalize it, diarize it, journal, that sort of thing? And it's the same thing. It's like, who are you telling? And also, when you're releasing that many like quotes, it's definitely a cry for help. If you think about it, my friend feels this. It's an internal, I guess, as you say, that reflection. We're a reflection. What we despise, we become.
Yeah.
And how are we perceiving others, I suppose, and how does that reflect on what's going on for us?
Yeah, exactly. So it essentially, what I'm inviting people to take on is a toolbox, right? And in this toolbox, we have the different tools, just like a regular toolbox. And one of them might be compassion, the other one's empathy, the other one's perspective. So life will show you what tool you need at that moment. And for the most part, I think the way we look at people is that we're not really injecting empathy. And empathy doesn't mean that you agree with them. Empathy doesn't mean condoning. Empathy be like, you know what, I have no idea, Andi, what's going on in your life right now. So
but
therefore,
I
hear you, and I can take a beat.
Wow.
And really kind of even suspend my needs and be like, you know what, maybe she's having a bad day, or maybe this or this or that. Maybe that's why she didn't say hi to me. But our filter immediately goes into, she's a B. And then, or whoever, right? And that's what we do. Not talking about you, a friend.
It's okay if you put the word bad in front of it. Bad bee. She's a bad bee.
Yeah, she's a bad bee. So little by little, we start bringing in that willpower and that rigor to really love our environment, because it takes something, right? And you know what? The Bible kind of had it right. Love thy neighbor like you love thyself. If I hate you, I hate me.
Wow. Well, for those who are spending a lot of time online, and I think that's a lot of the world right now, which is a bit scary, as long as we have balance in where we put our energy, and literally it could be spending more time with the neighbor or the person right in front of you, and understanding that they might be going through something because you might be going through something. So how can we all pull together? This is really just a relevant book for a very relevant time. I hope that, some people will look back on this and go, can you believe how that created the ripple effect? What are your hopes for like what you're doing? Because did you already have this vision when you released it, or before you released it, or did everyone just go, we want this guy on our show?
Yeah, no, it just, it's been picking up. I'm trusting the process, and like everything, right? And it's also an invitation to love the moment, because I think actually that's the biggest epidemic we all have. We're moment discriminators. The moment's never good enough. The moment needs 3 more zeros, 6 more abs, a better partner, and before we know it, like, this is it, babe. A truck comes tomorrow. Party's over. So how can we like enjoy this moment and still have our goals and our dreams, but not at the stake of not loving this moment for what it is? And that's the main goals. And I think I think people have been catching on and seeing how pragmatic and practical it is. And I think it's really hitting the zeitgeist.
So love thy moment, love thy neighbor. What's a commandment? We gave one for the audience already, but what would be one just you want to intuitively pass on to me out of your 10?
I love thou shalt remember that life is temporary. Again, like I said, or that millions of people will kill to be in your shoes.
Right.
It really, I love number 9 is you will remember you're not a reporter, you're a creator. Because that's what we do. Right? Here I am in my crappy house with my crappy husband, my crappy this, and like we're reporting the life that we don't like. So it's like, listen, I'm not saying to repress, right? I'm saying like, if you have $5 in your bank account, you don't have to go and scream out that you're rich and clearly, blatantly lie. But you also don't have to call everyone you know and tell them that you're broke either. So
what does that do?
So that starts to, you can speak with integrity. Hey, Andy, how's the money thing? It's working itself out. Oh, really? But what's happening? I'm trusting that things are falling into place.
That's called faith, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Faith, that's number 4. It's like thou shalt trust the unfolding of your life. So how can we speak with integrity and yet leave room for the magic of words, right?
But wait, let's just dial this back, because what I'm seeing now is going to really help some people is by not announcing, whether it's on social media or to the person that asks you how your bank balance is going or anything is going, right? By not continuing to perpetuate that narrative and proclaiming it, we then don't solidify what's happening and we're
cemented.
Yeah, we're cementing it by each time we tell someone or how many thousands are watching or whatever. When we change the narrative and have the faith, was that number 4?
Yeah.
Trust,
faith,
that it's working itself out.
Yeah.
Perhaps that delivers some magic in the message that then, really, this is just about the law of attraction that we're talking now. Really, this is what the law of attraction really is, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I even bring it down to how, there's a chapter I call Be Your Own Publicist. It's a whole paradox about, you and I live in LA, or I've been living here my whole life, and we are our worst publicists because we tell everybody our problems, and then they're like, oh, here comes Jorge with this issue with like dating or money or whatever. And then we get mad at people.
No, it's your friend. It's your friend.
My friend. And then we get mad at people when they talk smack about us, but we gave them all the ammunition.
Right.
So it's like, how about we stop like airing out our laundry and just have some agency and have some control?
Well, listen, if people are going to talk bleep about you, then they may as well talk you up. So
absolutely,
if you're going to give them something to say, Andi Lew's podcast is killing it right now. Let's give them that to say,
And
so having fun with it, right?
Having fun with it.
Listen, I love how much fun you're having. I know that's a crazy, really cheeky segue. But I really do and I wanted to tell you why. People need to know that you're not just sitting here in your amazing outfit and everything's all sunshine, rainbows and unicorns. You did lose your parents from cancer, which is devastating. And it was only recently. And I'm so sorry when I learned that. And I'm trying not to cry, but what I wanted to say is, look at how important it was for you to take that tragedy and turn it into triumph, so to speak.
Yeah.
What can people who are feeling like they've lost or at a loss, what can they take from that story?
Yeah, thank you for that. I love you for that. So the first chapter is actually called Heal Faster, Help Faster. And it's a story of how, before the first person broke the first 4-minute mile, no one could do it, but it took one person to do it first. So the 4-minute mile for me was the loss of my parents, right? It's like I got to overcome it in my own way and now share it so other people can feel, hey, if he did it, I can do it. Mm-hmm. So we all have our 4-minute mile story. I'm certainly not saying everyone needs to write a book or become a motivational speaker. And yet I invite people to consider that horrible loss of any kind, right? Whether it's a relationship or a parent or a health, could possibly be the biggest catalyst.
Blessing as well.
For your healing, not just for you, but for the world. So consider that.
And at the time when you're in it, I get it. It feels like funk.
Yeah. And I would never tell somebody get over it. And we all, the mourning process is so sacred, and everyone is entitled to have it be what they want it to be.
I think the thing is people don't actually mourn properly. I read something about, you mourn for 3 days and you do it properly and then it's fully finished. But if we're kind of repressing that process because we want to be brave or we want to keep showing up or whatever it is, we never really got to mourn, and then it kind of lingers. It's the same with, what you suppress will be expressed, right? So how do we mourn safely? What did you do?
I love that question too. I think it's definitely on a one-to-one basis, right? Because we're all built differently. Like you are the emancipation of your genetics, trauma, environment. So am I. Culture, right? You're from down under. I'm from the south.
Intergenerational trauma.
Everything. So I think that I do love what you're saying. I think there's so much truth about it, like giving yourself the space for it and not do some sort of emotional bypass and like stop yourself from mourning. But I think I think emotions, especially emotions like pain and suffering, it's like a wave. You can't stop that wave in the ocean. You can't, and you don't want to go against that wave. You got to let that wave pass, and you know it's gonna pass. So it's just a matter of time. But again, I would never tell somebody to speed it up. I know that
You'd
for
never
me,
tell them to shut the F up.
no, never. No, I know every people think that I would, but I'm not. Even though friends are complaining a lot less to me, which I'm like, dude, you can still tell me. Here's a beauty, and that's actually commandment number 10. Before you tell anyone to shut the F up, you shut the F up. Because you know what? If I'm telling somebody to shut the F up, that means that I'm not doing the book. That means that I'm not doing the method.
So are people telling you to shut the F up too and keeping you in alignment?
Oh, yeah. Listen, wait, you didn't see that thing? It's funny. You should say the whole thing about compassion. I almost got arrested 2 days ago because I lost it on my car got towed. And that day I had made a video about self-compassion.
Oh, right.
At the end of the day, didn't get arrested. Security guy and I ended up hugging, gave him a book.
You gave the security guy
in a bottle of Prosecco. So it all worked out. But again, it's like it's funny, right? We ask for patience. We ask for compassion. And then life goes, okay, here it is. You have a kid that you need to have patience on. You have a situation that you need to have compassion on yourself. It was a dark night of the soul for me as I was driving to get my tow car.
I don't even know if I like that saying. Please don't even. Like, what is this? Everyone saying dark night of the soul.
No, meaning, but to me, I mean, like, it was a moment of me having to look within myself and be like, how did I just snap at somebody?
So how? What triggered you? Because we all get triggered by something.
Oh, well, here's the thing, right? Like, first of all, I made a video about self-compassion. That could have been...
Wait, so you told everyone else before you went...
Right. No, that morning I made a video about, like, we all need to have self-compassion. Then I left my wallet in the rental car. Then they never told me that the car was towed. So it's like, you know, you've heard the term a perfect storm. Okay. A perfect storm is when all the conditions get perfectly aligned for this huge storm.
And then you just blew up.
Exactly. So for me, it was a perfect storm of events. And I can't even blame the guy that didn't tell me to tow the rental car, my car shop, the car. It doesn't matter. It's all about, can I be with compassion for myself when shit goes down?
Instead of making the video and forgetting your wallet in the car, could you have been more focused on what you were about to do that day instead of telling everyone? I get it though. You are on a mission. This man on a mission, right? I'm just going to give you the gift.
I'm on a mission, Andy. Don't mess around. Don't get in the way of my mission.
Give you the gift of slowing it down because, Jorge, you're going to be around for a very long time with this message. Traditionally, people go on book tours. They, have, 3 months, maybe 12 months when they're a new release. And, I think this message is going to be around for a long time. So I just want to give you that gift of you have all the time in the world and, time's an illusion anyway, right? So,
yeah.
I just want to give that to you.
Thank you.
I play a game when people bring in their books and I love to just grab a book and intuitively turn to a page. And I feel like that's what the audience need to hear.
I love this game.
So I'm going to think about something that I think this is why you, the audience, have tuned in. You need to hear this. All right. This is really interesting because I thought I was going to you know what? I was going to read it out, but I haven't got my glasses. So I'm going to get you to read the bit that starts off with, as I mentioned before, with the STFU method, everyone gets a pass.
Wow.
It's on the left-hand side. Everyone gets a pass.
As I've mentioned before, with the STFU method, everyone gets a pass. Remember to ask yourself, who am I really mad at? When someone upsets you, I want you to identify the real enemy in your eyes. Can't find the enemy? That's because it doesn't exist. Stay with me. When we're in conflict, the only real enemy is how we think about it. Your energy will disappear when you sort out your thoughts about your enemy will disappear when you sort out your thoughts about the situation. That's exactly what we were saying before. It's like when we get into these conflicts, right? If you really think about it, who is Andy? Am I mad at your genetics? Am I mad at your environment? Am I mad at what happened to you this morning? who am I really mad at?
Right.
So once we sort ourselves out, then we realize it's like peeling an onion. At the end, you're left with nothing. Again, that's not to say that
You're not allowed to have madness.
Exactly. Or you'd go to HR and do your thing. But that habit that we have of staying upset,
Right.
I'm not going to forgive him. I'm not forgiving him. I'm not forgiving her. Screw that. It's like drinking poison and expecting for the other person to die, you know?
Yeah. And forgiveness is crucial when it comes to aging well. So we're all about that.
Yeah, aging well. And listen, I work with a lot of different people that have neurological diseases and cancers and stuff. And I've interviewed so many of them, and especially the neurological ones. You see people in a wheelchair and you think, oh, they were born that way or they got into an accident. No, a lot of them just out of nowhere, like, hey, my leg hurts, and now they're in wheelchairs, and they all remember something emotional that they would not let go, either forgiving someone or a grudge or pain. So we need to be mindful.
I totally agree with that. I'm just going to finish on this story that quantifies what you're saying is true. When I worked in a chiropractic practice, there was somebody who came in a wheelchair, and the chiropractor at the time came out and said, after having a look at her x-rays and also her telling me that she fell and that's when she went into the wheelchair, I know emphatically where I can like adjust the spine and probably get her walking again. And then the next time she came in was for that report of findings and the first adjustment, but she wheeled herself out and the carer was like sitting in the front, and then that was it. Like she didn't get adjusted. And I was like, what's going on? I thought, this was going to be really positive, and she didn't want to get adjusted. And the chiropractor said, well, when I told the person this, that I could emphatically probably get them walking again because this is the cause, and she attracted that or whatever is what you're saying. The person said to the chiropractor, because you told me this story, I'm actually not going to get adjusted, because see that person in the waiting room? That's been my carer for the last 16 years. And if I walk, I might lose my carer.
Wow, the identification.
Right. So we just have to meet people with where they're at in their journey of healing. But what I hope this book does for everyone is it starts to just open up the notion of you're safe, you have abundance everywhere, and we all support you, right? And if not, let's create it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's create
and
that.
the key is, if I had to sum up this whole book in one word, it would be self-acceptance. I think self-acceptance is the key. And self-acceptance doesn't have to look like, oh my God, I love my self-acceptance. No. Can you be with this moment as well and as good as you can?
Lovely.
And that's it.
And so can we stay with you on your Instagram? Can you announce
that?
Absolutely. And where can we buy the book?
The book is on Amazon, and it's in Barnes & Nobles, and you can find me on Instagram at Jorge Perez Jr. And then website is STFUmethod.com, and there's bags and merch and a whole lot of good fun things. So
yay!
Yeah, that's the best way to find me.
Join the Shut the F Up movement.
It's a movement.
Follow Jorge, and thank you for watching and listening to Well to Do.